Hi, welcome to another episode. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let's dive in. While their people languish in poverty and are treated as human shields, the leaders of Hamas live billionaire lifestyles. The terror group's three top leaders alone are worth a staggering total of $11 billion and enjoy a life of luxury in the sanctuary of the Emirate of Qatar. The Emirate has long welcomed the leaders of the terror group and installed them in its luxury hotels and villas at the same time as it hosts a vast American military presence. The terrorist group, which is responsible for the anti-Semitic October 7th massacre of more than 1,400 innocent civilians and soldiers in southern Israel, continues to hold over 100 hostages in Gaza. Hamas runs an office in Qatar's capital, Doha, and leaders Ismail Haniyeh, Musa Abu Marzouk and Khaled Mashal maintain a luxurious lifestyle. They have been seen at its diplomatic club, photographed on private jets, and traveled widely. The leadership would have been there for the 2022 Soccer World Cup. In contrast, most of the population of more than 2 million in the Gaza Strip, which Hamas has ruled since 2007, live in abject poverty. Haniyeh, 61, the head of Hamas Politburo, was Prime Minister of all Palestinian territory following elections in 2006, although he was booted from office a year later. Hamas's leadership both inside and outside Gaza steals money from Gazans, who live in bad conditions, to build military infrastructure and for private purposes, including to maintain their expensive lifestyles. Said IDF Major General Yaakov Amidror, former National Security Advisor to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. But where does the terror group, the second richest in the world, get its $2 billion annual budget from? The Palestinian Authority transfers to Gaza approximately 33% of its total annual budget. These funds are theoretically meant to pay the salaries of Fatah officials, as well as for various goods and services for residents of the Strip, such as water, electricity, and medical treatment. Since Hamas ousted Fatah from Gaza in a 2007 sectarian war, tensions between them have produced several diplomatic conflicts and subsequent failed reconciliation efforts. The PA, which Israel previously accused of paying the salaries of some Hamas terrorists in the Strip, maintains infrastructure and a certain level of influence inside the enclave through its financial contributions. Hamas also raises hundreds of millions of dollars annually from taxes imposed on goods arriving through the Rafah crossing with Egypt and the Kerem Shalom crossing with Israel, in addition to tariffs on contraband entering the Strip through vast networks of smuggling tunnels. Contributions from Iran to the terror organization are estimated at $250 million each year since 2014. Hamas has received significant support since its inception in 1987, including weapons and training from Tehran. At first, Hamas tried to preserve relative independence, but following the death of Sheikh Ahmed Yassin in May 2004, Khaled Mashal sought to increase funding from Islamic Republic significantly. Iran's financial and military support to Hamas has continued to grow steadily over time, especially after the terror organization took control of Gaza in 2007. Hamas ran into a disagreement with Iran over the former's opposition to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad during the civil war. However, Iranian funding for Hamas never completely stopped. By early 2014, relations between Hamas and Iran started to get back on track. It is largely believed that Iran's terrorist programs, and its dedicated effort to arm and finance Hamas, enabled Hamas to launch its October 7th assault on southern Israel, which killed 1,200 people. Hamas also collects hundreds of millions of dollars from various aid groups and its web of so-called charitable organizations. From 2014 to 2020, UN agencies spent nearly $4.5 billion in Gaza. More than 80% of that funding is channeled through the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, who make up 3/4 of the enclave's population. In November, Berlin took steps towards prohibiting any Hamas activity on German soil, including banning charities with links to Hamas, such as the Samadown Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network. Later that month, an investigation by Focus on Western Islamism, FWI, an organization that works to expose Islamist extremism and finances, revealed that over $260 million were raised by Hamas-aligned charities in the United States. Since 2018, Qatar has also been transferring tens of millions of dollars in cash monthly to Hamas, at one point reaching nearly $400 million per year. The thinking was that it would buy quiet. For Qatar, maintaining long-standing ties to terror organizations is part of the country's grand strategy. Over the years, Qatar has hosted members of Al-Qaeda, Islamic State and the Taliban, having mediated the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Giving terror groups a safe haven is a form of security for Qatar. It insulates the royal family. In the past, terror groups targeted ruling families in the Gulf countries, but never in Qatar. Qatar's ties to Hamas made the country a key mediator in the negotiations that led to a ceasefire deal between Israel and the Palestinian terror group, making Doha a valuable player in the international community. However, voices have started calling on Washington to reassess its relationship with Doha. Last month, U.S. Congressman Andy Ogles introduced the Trust But Verify Act, which would temporarily suspend the state of Qatar's status as a major non-NATO ally until such time Doha renounces support for terror groups, including Hamas. Such a reassessment could include moving the U.S. Air Force from Doha to Bahrain, where the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet is currently hosted. The largest U.S. military base in the Middle East, Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base hosts 11,000 U.S. military personnel. It could also lead to the freezing of assets of Hamas's enablers. You can't be on the one hand a major non-NATO ally of the United States, and at the same time provide excellent living conditions to the leadership of a terror organization responsible for the most horrific, barbaric attack of all time. He added, Hamas, which administers Gaza, is run by men who oversee an annual turnover of $1 billion, according to estimates presented by the Israeli embassy. Senior Hamas leaders Abu Marzouk, Khaled Mashal and Ismail Haniyeh have all been accused of hoarding their own personal wealth at the expense of hard-pressed Gazans. Haniyeh is believed to be the richest of the bunch, with the German tabloid Bild reporting that the 61-year-old Tehran often flies between Istanbul, Moscow and Cairo on his private jet. Meanwhile, two of Haniyeh's sons Maaz and Abdul Salam are not ashamed of showing off their lavish lifestyles on Instagram with posts from luxury hotel suites in Istanbul and Doha. Israel has vowed to destroy the terrorist group as a political and military entity in Gaza following its invasion of southern Israel on October 7 and massacre of 1,200 people. Israel has also declared that it will target the organization's leadership, including those living safely abroad. As part of its effort to isolate and destroy Hamas, Israel significantly restricted the amount of aid allowed into the Strip, and withheld $100 million that the PA had earmarked Gaza. However, according to a Midrash, the protection and perks afforded to Hamas leaders will continue unless Israel puts its foot down. Once they are killed, they won't be able to travel anymore. Indeed, Netanyahu has vowed to target the heads of Hamas, wherever they are, and Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said, "They are living on borrowed time." Thanks for watching, and see you again in another World Formatics episode.